Hello. This is going to be an in-depth review of the toy here in front of me. The brand, as you can see, is Moover. It's a Danish brand. And the name of this specific toy is the Tap Tap music toy. It is available from a number of different retailers that provide products to Australia. I actually purchased mine in a shop, specifically a pharmacy, the Mega Safe Chemist. They sometimes have a baby section and I saw it in there. I believe I paid $45 for it, but it seemed to be retailing for $39. This is of course in AUD. I am reviewing this one because it needs to move from the donation pile to its final destination, being the Montessori school that I send my son to, because it's probably done its dash at our place, and I've offered it to some friends and they haven't been super interested. So yes, I'm sure it will be very well used at Montessori school. But yeah, with all of that in mind, I'll do a review now before it goes. So this one, I'll just go through the standard review points, I guess. So the purpose of it, I think, it has a xylophone inside, as you can see. It comes with a hammer, and it also has these balls, and similar to the Kmart product I reviewed a little while ago, it's got these silicone, the word escapes me, but little tongues basically that stop the ball from going through right away and provide some resistance for the toddler who's hitting them. And as you can see, as soon as you hit it through the hole, it's going to go down the xylophone. I think there's a lot to it in terms of purpose, to be honest. Like it's pretty open-ended, and with that in mind, it's fairly Montessori. So it is going to teach music basics to a degree. I'm not a music expert, unfortunately. I can't tell you whether this is a sharp or a flat xylophone, or how it's tuned, or the notes, or anything like that. But I mean, it's a fairly sort of standard 7-note xylophone. It's got a handy handle, and it slides in on an angle. The whole toy is made of wood, with obviously metal parts, and there's a bell at the end as well. So I think in my head I thought it would produce much clearer music notes than it actually does. So sort of skipping ahead to execution a little bit here. I'll give you a demo to sort of show you. I think in my head I imagined that it would be this sort of lovely uniform tune, but I just didn't find that to be the experience. Anyway, it's much better I show you. That one was not too bad actually, because that one at the beginning of the toy is obviously going across the length of the xylophone in its entirety. So that one's okay, but even still, because it's all wood, sorry, my apologies, the xylophone keys are metal. It's not a particularly steep angle, but it goes down really, really quickly, and I think they almost would have been better to sort of just bring the angle up a little bit so it's not quite so steep, so you don't get a super, like, make it a little bit more slow. And then obviously as you hit these ones, you just kind of get halfway down, and then this one doesn't really achieve much at all on the xylophone. Yeah, you just kind of get one note and it hits the bell. And again, the placement of the bell is so close to the end of xylophone that there's not really a clear distinction. And I think for toddlers, you do actually need clear distinctions between things. So we've got the hammer, drop onto the xylophone, da, 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 and then the bell, like with gaps in between. It might sound pedantic and nitpicky, but I think for me, it just sounds like a great big noise without sort of any gap in between to go, oh, okay, well, this is the sound of the hammer on the ball, this is the sound of the ball dropping, this is the sound of the xylophone, and this is the sound of the bell, and the sound of, you know, the balls rolling off the edge, like all as distinct things. So, and I apologize, I'm very congested and breathless because I'm heavily pregnant. So the purpose is, like, I love the purpose. It's to refine the toddler's execution to actually hit the ball with the right amount of force and in the correct location. It obviously teaches cause and effect, introduces music notes and pattern recognition, but the execution just lets it down, unfortunately. So moving on to quality. So they do pride themselves using the kind of Danish standard branding of like, our things are very high quality and so on and so forth. And I would agree with that. It's a high quality toy, but I mean, it's not out of this world. It's not Grimm's level quality. If you're not familiar with Grimm's, they make heirloom quality wooden toys, and they're kind of like, I guess what I would use as the benchmark or the gold standard. Like, it's fairly just sort of average finishes, I would say. Not quite as good as Love Every, if that is helpful at all, if you've touched or dealt with any of their toys. Just little things like, you know, the pieces of wood not quite matching up and no rounding on the corners, that sort of thing. But I mean, realistically, the quality is sufficient, and I think it actually reflects the price point the toy is at. You know, there's no sort of issues there. I don't feel like it's a steeply overpriced toy or anything. Practicality, look, I don't think anyone is taking this with them out of the house unless you just take individual parts like the balls or the xylophone. Look, not all toys can be fairly assessed on the basis of practicality. Some things are just meant to be kept at home as at-home toys, and that's completely okay. So I won't sort of flame them too hard on the practicality point. As I said before, value. The value, I think, is there, but it all depends on, like, you know, in terms of the materials and the price, yes, it's good value. But as far as engagement goes, because that does come into it too, when you buy a toy for your child, you are hoping that they will enjoy it and you feel as though you got your money's worth in buying it for them. And I have to say, I didn't with this one. He was never really into it, and I found that, like, in my experience of practically using it with him, it just sort of, I don't know, it felt a bit clunky, it felt a bit awkward. I don't think it was achieving any of its lovely Montessori purposes behind it. It just felt kind of clunky and clumsy to use, and these wooden balls, as soon as you hit them through, they just shoot off. And we have, you know, so we've got like a stone table, tiled floors, they're just off and under the lounge immediately. And I don't know if that's a fair criticism of the toy itself or it's more of a criticism of how our home is set up, but it just felt like I felt a sense of dread every time it was out because I knew I'd be crawling into the lounge to retrieve these wooden balls. So with all of that in mind, it could be great for you. It could be something that your kids love and get a lot of use out of and find awesome, but I just think the execution lets it down a little bit, and it was rather annoying to use, and from a sensory perspective, I found the noise pretty unpleasant. So yeah, all in all, I'd give it a 3 out of 5, which I think is a fair score. If you have any questions specifically about this one, please let me know and I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you.